Let's go Dolphins! I know that in recent seasons our team has been embarrassed by not being able to make the playoffs, but this dark cloud will pass, and we will smile again. Of course, many things need to happen. We need a new GM and everyone knows that. Chris Grier has already shown that he is not capable and there is no point in Ross continuing to make the same mistake. If you agree with me that Chris Grier should be fired, hit the like button. If possible, comment like this: "It's time for Grier to go." Now let's get to what really matters. The Miami Dolphins may be making a big move to address a fundamental weakness that has persisted for a long time, the left guard position. With free agency approaching and the NFL draft approaching, rumors about a possible signing that would bring veteran offensive guard Dalton Risner to South Florida have intensified. And this isn't just speculation. This buzz comes directly from someone with deep connections to the Dolphins front office, Risner's agent, Drew Rosenhaus. If that name sounds familiar, it's because it should. Rosenhaus isn't just any agent. He represents several Dolphins players, including none other than Tyreek Hill. So what exactly did Rosenhaus say? In his weekly segment with a local Miami TV station, he mentioned Dalton Risner by name when asked about the Dolphins' offensive line and whether they might be looking to add another piece. It's not a throwaway comment. When an agent with that kind of access and inside knowledge mentions a name, fans and analysts start to pay attention. And there's more. The Dolphins' offensive line coach, Butch Barry, previously worked with Risner when he came out of Kansas State and joined the Denver Broncos. That past connection could play a pivotal role in Miami's evaluation process, making this potential signing feel more realistic than hypothetical. Now let's talk about Risner as a player. He's not coming in as a splashy, high-profile name at this point in free agency, but don't let the timing fool you. Risner brings something this Dolphins offensive line desperately needs: reliability and pass protection. Last season, he played 611 snaps and allowed just 1 sack, 2 quarterback hits, and 18 hurries. And get this, he committed 0 penalties. That's not just impressive, that's elite discipline. Among all guards who played at least 600 snaps last season, Risner ranked first in penalties, as in, had none, third in sacks allowed, and ninth in QB hits. These are the kinds of stats that get offensive line coaches excited. Let's be real here. The Dolphins are set at 4 of their 5 starting offensive line spots. Austin Jackson, James Daniels, and Aaron Brewer anchor the right side and center. With Terron Armstead officially retired, second-year man Patrick Paul is slotted to start at left tackle. That leaves just one glaring hole, left guard. And the internal options? Liam Eichenberg and Larry Borom don't inspire much confidence. Eichenberg, in particular, has struggled to hold down the position, and fans wouldn't be thrilled seeing him start again this year. That's why a guy like Risner makes so much sense. He wouldn't just be a plug-in body, he'd be a legitimate upgrade. Even with questions about his run blocking and durability, especially a recurring lower back issue reported during his stint in Minnesota, Risner's pass blocking prowess outweighs those concerns. He fits the Dolphins' zone blocking scheme under Mike McDaniel better than a power gap player would, and that's critical for scheme fit. To be fair, there's a reason Risner is still unsigned. His lower back issues have scared off some teams, and his run blocking has been hit or miss, particularly when facing powerful defensive linemen. According to the numbers, he ranked in the bottom third among qualified guards in key run blocking categories last year. But in Miami, the bigger issue hasn't been running through the tackles, it's been protecting Tua Tagovailoa. A quarterback with Tua's injury history needs clean pockets and minimal hits. Risner provides exactly that. But he's not the only option on the table. The Dolphins are also reportedly considering Brandon Scherff and Will Hernandez. Of the 3, Scherff is the top prize. Not only is he a rock in pass protection like Risner, but he also brings unmatched durability. He hasn't missed a game in 3 years and played over 1,000 snaps last season. That kind of availability is gold, especially for a Miami offensive line that's been plagued by injuries year after year. Pairing Scherff with Patrick Paul could give the Dolphins a much-needed stable left side. And here's a strategic wrinkle: why haven't the Dolphins signed anyone yet? It's all about the NFL's compensatory pick formula. Players signed after the NFL draft don't count against the team's compensatory pick calculations, so teams often wait until after the draft to make these depth signings. Expect a mini wave of free agency once the draft wraps, and don't be surprised if Risner or Scherff is part of that second wave. So here's the million-dollar question for Dolphins fans. If you had to choose, who would you rather sign, Dalton Risner or Brandon Scherff? One brings elite pass protection and familiarity with the coaching staff. The other adds durability and leadership. Either would be a massive upgrade over last year's Eichenberg-Jones combination. As the Dolphins head into draft season, the left guard spot remains a critical puzzle piece. Whether they address it with a veteran like Risner or Scherf before or after the draft, one thing is clear. This front office knows it needs to protect Tua, and they're not going to leave that decision to chance. But what do you think, Dolphins fans? Should Miami pull the trigger on Risner, or is Scherf the smarter play? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This is a conversation we need to have heading into the most important part of the offseason. Let's keep it going because this discussion gets even more interesting when we factor in what this potential signing means not just for the offensive line, but for the entire Dolphins offseason strategy. Signing Dalton Risner or Brandon Scherf doesn't just fill a hole. It completely changes how Miami can approach the NFL draft. Think about it. The Dolphins hold picks at 13, 48, and 98. If they go into the draft still needing a left guard, they're essentially forced to address that position with one of those premium selections. That limits flexibility and potentially forces the team to reach for a player who might not be the best value on the board. But if they lock in a veteran starter before or immediately after the draft, suddenly Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel have the freedom to truly go best player available. That means they could address other key areas like cornerback, defensive tackle, or even grab a falling star like Will Campbell if he slips to 13. We know the Dolphins have concerns along the defensive line, particularly with the lack of depth at defensive tackle. That group is a major worry heading into the season, especially given the lack of quality free agents still available at that spot. But here's where the offensive line move becomes even more valuable. You fix the offense now, so you can build your defense later. That's smart roster construction. And let's not gloss over what Risner and Scherf bring in terms of leadership. These guys have experience. They've started dozens of games. Risner, despite the injuries, has played at a high level in pass protection. Scherf is a former All-Pro. This team is young in spots, particularly on the offensive line with Patrick Paul stepping into a massive role at left tackle. You want someone next to him who's been there, done that. A calming veteran presence who can help with protections, pick up blitzes, and bring a little nastiness to a unit that has too often played soft in the trenches. Another point that shouldn't be overlooked is scheme fit. Miami runs a zone blocking scheme under McDaniel, which puts a premium on movement skills and technique over raw power. Risner's finesse style might actually be better suited to this system than in other, more power-heavy schemes. Yes, he struggles against bigger, more physical linemen in the run game, but the Dolphins don't play a traditional downhill rushing attack. They rely on speed, motion, and angles. This could play right into Risner's strengths, especially if he's asked to pull or get to the second level on outside zone runs. So, Dolphins fans, we're on the brink of a pivotal decision. Risner or Scherf, now or after the draft? Do you want the proven pass protector with upside and some health questions, or the rock-solid veteran who hasn't missed a snap in years? Either way, this move could set the tone for the rest of the offseason and for the season ahead. What do you think, Dolphins Nation? Is Dalton Risner the right man to step in and solidify this line, or should Miami push for Brandon Scherf to bring veteran toughness and durability? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's get this debate rolling. Who would you trust to protect Tua's blind side and help take this offense to the next level? Let's hear it.